Now, due to the conditions that Gary struggled through, and I like to first acknowledge the fact that this is socially engineered, and what that simply means is it is by design that Gary is in the position that it's in. Again, as I mentioned, it makes a lot of profit. The conditions that Gary's in produces profit. Now, because of that, it has enslaved the community. And you ever notice the people in Gary, you might say it yourself, but you hear people say, well, I feel caged in Gary. I feel like I can't do what I need to do. I want to be somewhere else or move somewhere else or exist in a different way. Well, that's the mindset that is created for individuals to sort of fall into the traps that's designed for them. Well, as an administrator, I understand that. As your administrator of the city, I understand that. So programs have to be put in place. Programs that I consider based in your human development. But in order to turn the city around, there has to be anchors. If you noticed, and I mean economic anchors, I'm talking about anchors that actually sustain a community, fuels that community, and is direct relationship with that community. Case in point, Gary, Indiana is formed by U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel functioned as an anchor for the city. It engaged in the education system and helped bring more employees to its factory, to its industry, as well as it engaged in assisting the government into building and using contractors locally, and it did all those things as an anchor should. The problem that's happening, Gary no longer has that relationship or has that anchor. Now, of course, we need to rebuild that with U.S. Steel as much as possible. But the challenge for a new administrator is to understand that and bring several anchors that are in direct relationship with the education system of the city, the subcontracting potential, the land mass, the home revitalization. All these things is what an anchor does. What I'm going to bring long term, now we mentioned the short term, first 100 days, but now what I like to do long term is show how an anchor fuels an entire community and bring that anchor that I've researched since 2005. A massive anchor. It's anchored in the biotechnology and life sciences. And also the other sub-anchor is connected to the other spin of technology. As I mentioned, first 100 days using free internet access. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you bring technology, you modernize your city. When you modernize your city, businesses are attracted to that. People are attracted to that. There are things that you can do, and I'm not going to spill all the information. On September 21st, 23rd, to the 23rd, we're going to break out the entire master plan and present this. But I don't want to use these videos for individuals to glean, because it happens, you know. I don't want to use it to glean and then just take it and okay, we'll do a duplicate. But there is a master plan. But here's what's different. As your administrator, I will not be doing a master plan without a survey or the following checks and balances of my shareholders. I'm going to keep the shareholders happy because that's what keeps the company strong. It's just like a corporation. Gary is a corporation. That means that when I'm ready to introduce these massive projects, not only am I going to explain the step-by-step process before launching them, I'm going to get a survey and input from my shareholders. Have to do it. So one of the things that we want to do, we call this campaign, we use a slogan for a campaign, Fight to Free Gary. Gary has to first be liberated. Before I introduce all these massive plans, before we do all those different things, we have to liberate the city. That's the reason why I'm running. Free the city from the bondage that is the individuals that exploit poverty, or exploit the conditions. We have to free the city from those circumstances, those conditions. Then we can introduce all these different things. But then you have to also defend it with the processes. Defend it with the systems and the structures and the various things that are put in place. You have to do that. And so that would be my job. That's what I want to introduce to the city, because that's what it does not have. Good ideas come and go in the city, but they're not protected. Money comes in abundance to the city, but it never gets to where it's supposed to go. That's because it doesn't have the processes. That's because it doesn't have the defense in place. That's because it doesn't have the systems and the organization structure that's necessary to defend it. Not only bringing it, but you must defend it. So on November the 3rd, I am running as a candidate for mayor here in the city of Gary. And I'm looking forward to connecting more and more with the shareholders, young and older, doesn't matter. Giving them back their power is what we're going to do. We're going to free Gary.